Yes. Get it all out of your system. Hello and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. I'm Jordan. With me is Luke. How are you, Luke?
I'm doing well. Welcome, one and all.
Welcome, one and
We're
all.
here.
Yeah. Your 1 month anniversary, as you just told me, of having a child. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably more his 1 month anniversary, but 1 month of not sleeping for me, and especially my wife.
You notice any physical changes in yourself?
Yep.
Yep.
Miserable most of the time.
Change? Yep. Big change. Look at that Spider-Man clip.
Yeah. Not the same kind of change he was going through, though.
Not quite.
I wish one day I'd wake up and be super buff and have amazing senses.
Oh, that'd be great. You no longer need glasses anymore.
Yeah. Short of flying, that would be the best.
Absolutely. Well, either way, thank you to your wife for allowing us to take the time to have this podcast.
Truer words have not been spoken.
Yeah, so it's appreciated on my end as well.
Yep.
So big thanks to Bethany. It's very kind.
Indeed.
Yeah, let's how you been? Anything else going on with you this week? Any other things?
We went to Disney.
Oh, all right. Where'd you go?
I don't know if I never know if that kind of thing falls into what I've been watching / playing, because it's not either one of those things. But yeah, we went to Disney. My mom's birthday was yesterday, so
happy birthday, Miss Glover.
My sister and her boys were here, spending some time and having some cake and just doing little boy stuff with my mom. So she just eats it up. She loves kids in general, and of course her grandkids are something extra special. So yeah, we went to Animal Kingdom. It was pretty busy. It was busier than I've seen it in a while. We actually haven't been to Animal Kingdom in a while, but I'm comparing it to, like, Epcot and Magic Kingdom, which we have been in the last year, whatever, since it's been harder to get to Disney. Yeah. But I'm just appreciative of two things. That, first of all, Disney's still open.
Yes.
Because not many people have that luxury around the world. Luckily, we do still here in Florida. And also that we have the pass, because I do not understand. It doesn't make sense to me why they would shut that whole program down, but they seem to be doing that. It seems to me like it's guaranteed money, so why would you get rid of something like that? But I guess they don't make as much money as people who buy the day pass, whatever. So
I suppose. Yeah.
Yep. I guess we got to hold on to those, Jordan.
That's right. California's Disneyland that's ended, so I don't know what they're going to do here in Florida for the world, but
well, you can't get any passes here either,
really?
Right?
Oh,
yeah. Well, you can't get any more annual passes here in Florida, I thought.
Don't let that renewal date slide by then.
Yeah. And my sister she let it slide, and then she was trying to re-get it, and they said, well, we're just not accepting any new ones. And this was a few months before they said they were going to cancel it. So she was able to get it in the time between, but yeah, she might not have. And apparently you can sign up kids. So as long as you have it, you can sign up your kids.
Okay, that's good.
So that's good, nice. So
have you been to the
okay, Jordan?
Yeah, we're all
right. We walked by it actually and mentioned you when we saw it. Is it adults only?
No.
Is that right?
No, it's not.
Okay. There was only adults in there when I walked by, so I thought it was.
It has only appeal to adults. So it's like a child would not want to really, they're not going to get chicken tendies and get in and get out. It's a place of relaxation, man. I love it. They have drinks, but they also have really nice snacks. They have this, the Impossible burger sliders. Man, they're great. I don't know too much about the Impossible burger, but it was so good.
I've had a hard time trying Impossible meat. I just like regular meat.
Yeah,
but
I've never tried it in any other situation, but
yeah,
I enjoyed that.
If it's good, it's good, right?
Yeah, man. and just kind of walking around like places like the park and going to like restaurants, man, I feel there is going to be an unforeseen consequence that we'll only notice once everybody kind of goes back to normal, whatever that is. And it terrifies me, especially when it comes to going to the movies. I feel like the weird have gotten weirder. I feel like people who are weird have had a lot of time to themselves to sit
The weirdness has brewed.
and just let it stew and
Yeah.
just lose all sense of what it's like to interact with another human soul.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I'm not going to go over all the things that I've just encountered in the last few days where I'm just like, what
All
is
the
this?
things.
Yeah, what are you thinking? With like certain people, whether it be again at the park or at someplace like Chili's or something like that, where I'm just like, what is going on? It's like I don't know. It's like I'm being punked half the time. It's just I don't understand. I wanted to throw that out there. I feel like we are going to notice that there, like everyone, maybe like the Florida man or whatever has like evolved Pokemon style to like a new monster. I mean, we live here in Florida, but I imagine there will be Florida man popping up all over the country. I don't wish this, but I feel like it
Yeah.
might be an inevitability. I am nervous.
Yeah.
I am
I've
nervous.
thought about I think about a lot of things, but I've definitely been thinking about a lot of adjacent things to what you're saying during this whole time. I'm like thinking about people I've known in my life who are already like super worried. Maybe not even just like people who are hypochondriacs, but like people who are just worried about everything. You know what I mean? Like just worrier
Yeah.
kind of people
Oh yeah.
who are worried about, China or Russia or, the government getting involved or, I mean, all the things, some of them probably reasonable and other of them kind of dumb, but, just people who worried about like food color in their food and like, that things that may be reasonable. I don't really know, but just like always worrying, like, which it's like, well, if you're so worried about all that, maybe you should be worried about worrying so much. Like
Yeah.
that can't be healthy either. But I was just thinking, man, those people, like, I'm glad, first of all, I don't live with someone like that. But second of all, like, how are those people doing right now? Like, the freaking wellness checks need to be in place for those people.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to give away too much about my personal life. I work in a cardiac office. And let me tell you, brother, business is booming in a time
In the worst way.
in the worst.
A good way for you guys, but the worst way for
Oh my
people.
gosh.
Oh,
No.
yeah, I bet.
Everybody just chill the F out. Just chill out. Okay? All right. So let's get into it, man. What have we've been watching slash playing slash listening to. So all right, I believe you went first last time, so I'll kind of talk a little bit about what I've been listening. I haven't been listening to too much. It's like I don't know, like for some reason I just haven't really broken into a lot of new music as of late, and so I don't really have much to talk about. Honestly, I've been kind of getting into some older stuff. Like I had a conversation with you, with my wife about how it's like crazy things that when we were in high school were the newest things, and these are the things that these albums we obsess over. A lot of those albums are turning 20, or already turned 20, and they're old. And like thinking about it, it's like wow, albums like I think I brought up something corporate, like one of those old kind of pop rock emo bands, but like
Razor blade suitcase.
it's so old.
Oh my
and like
gosh.
thinking of it's like now comparatively, that right now those albums are like as old as 80s music would have been when those albums came out. That is strange. And kind of,
It's an understatement.
yeah, but you know what? I think there is a difference here because, like, I think it comes down to recording technology because when you hear songs from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, they sound old. You're like, this is old. even in the 90s.
Yeah.
But recording technology has come such a long way and kind of like reached a plateau where it's like you don't hear too much of a difference in audio fidelity or audio quality. So it's hard to really pick it out and be like, oh, that sounds like an older song. No, most of it sounds like on par. If anything has aged, it might be like the style or something like that, but not so much the fidelity of the recording.
You've listened to Miles Davis before, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Kind of Blue, that album, like his most well-known album.
Yeah.
That album is kind of known for its quality, for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's probably one of the best like old albums that holds up really well. And it is amazing what they did, because I think I read on like how they recorded it, and back then, like, of course they didn't have like digital recording devices they could like put on each of the like brass instruments. So they're just putting like mics around the room and like simultaneously recording it all and like bringing it all together. And it sounds so good. And I love Miles Davis, but that album, it sounds so good, especially for how old it is.
That's crazy. They just like maybe they just got lucky, or that person who the sound engineer was just a genius. I don't know.
Probably just a genius. I like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe you listening to Luke. You got something up your sleeve.
My Spotify crashed, so I was rebooting it.
Oh no!
This computer is just. I love this computer, but it's getting a little old. The old MacBook Air just ain't doing what it used to do.
Great old Air does.
So I'm actually going to recommend something a little strange for me, but Dua Lipa, probably one of the like biggest like female pop artists probably in the world at this moment, other than maybe Ariana Grande or something like that. But Dua Lipa came out with, I don't really understand what it is, but it's the Moonlight edition of her Future Nostalgia album, which did like so well back in 2020. She came out with this like newer version. But anyways, that doesn't really matter because this song's on both. But yeah, there's just like new songs on the new version. But the song Cool, I need to listen to more of this album because I'll probably find some other songs, but the song Cool,
that song's
so
10.
good.
That song is a 10. I am with you.
So good. That's so funny. We both like it.
No, it's the best. It's the best
that
song.
We both picked it out. But I was like going on there, I'm like, I want to listen to a little bit of this because I think like the Moonlight edition like popped up in my this release radar kind of thing. And it was like literally the one that I was like, I think I like this song. But now thinking back on it, I don't think I'd ever heard it. I just like picked it. And like as soon as I listened to it, I'm like, yeah, this is so good. Like I love the like guitar and stuff like in like a poppy song. It probably not a great example, but it reminds me a little bit of like Paramore with like a little edgier, like newer, electronic feel. Yeah. Listening to it right now. It's really good.
It's so good. It's like everything a pop song should be, I think.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good. It's just it's energized. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
The melody is killer. Her vocals are really nice. It's great. It's great.
I can't just say, that Dua Lipa's like this. I think she is good, but there's a lot of songs on there that I'm not crazy about.
She did
there's some good
something special with Cool. Cool is exceptionally good. There's a lot of other tracks on that album which are good. I'm like, this is good. I'm enjoying listening to this, but it's you kind of come down after a while. Listening to Cool. It's such a good song.
And you don't ever listen to the radio, but I don't think I've ever heard it like on the radio. I don't think I've ever heard it on TikTok, Instagram.
I heard someone I never listened to Dua Lipa before, ever. And someone brought it up in the same breath of, oh, wow, it's so cool. Because I feel like there's a new era of like music where they're going back to 80s stuff. They're bringing her up with The Weeknd. And I was like, oh, no, The Weeknd. But I've never heard Dua Lipa. And so I listened to the album. And then when it got to Cool, I was like, what in the world? This is so good.
They were saying The Weeknd sounds 80s?
His latest album is what they were saying. But I don't know.
I'll have to listen to some more of it.
But yeah,
I've just heard the ones on the radio.
Very nice. All right, so watching / playing this week. It's been a few things. Let me get my list up here. I want to start with this. First, this is kind of like a I don't really talk about is YouTube stuff. I want to thank you, Luke, for actually sending me this video. We talked about Beef Wellington, my
Yeah.
new quest in life, I guess. And you sent me YouTube YouTube personality, or it's not really personality, but YouTube chef, maybe Alvin Zhao.
Apparently, it takes a lot of work to make Beef Wellington.
Yeah, okay. Especially
You want to do it right, I guess.
Especially his way. I love his videos. Me and my wife, we sat down and we watched all of them. There's only 6 or so, but they're great. They're great.
Yeah.
And they're like, for some reason, like,
He has some good cameras.
cinematography is great, and just the idea is good. It's like a cooking thing, but it's almost like for you to be able to get anything out of it, you'd have to already know how to cook just a little bit at least. It's not too instructional.
Yeah.
You just kind of he kind of takes you through the process a little bit. He doesn't give you a lot of
This is what I did.
Yeah, it's not a bunch of measurements or about how hot to make the stove or anything like that. There's not a lot of that or at all. He just kind of takes you through it. There's no dialogue in any of them. It's all through subtitles. He never shows his face, even though his face is on his like profile. It's all just
he's not really hiding.
no, he's not really hiding. It's just like I love just the atmosphere of the videos. There's like a lack of vanity to it. It's something very charming. It helps that obviously, like me and him have very similar taste as far as like nerd stuff, because he always has like a side. It's like, oh, while this is baking,
Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Attack on Titan a little bit. And I'm like, this guy. But it's great. I can't, and also I think some of the cooking stuff is great. There's little hints in there, like Amber. There's one where he was like making 48-hour brownies or 72-hour brownies, something like that. Where his whole methodology is like, I'm gonna take as long as possible to make this food, because I think food just tastes better when it's made this way. And he does that with so many different things. That's like his thing, like this long preparation style of cooking. And so, but there's little things in there that I can take. Like Amber was making brownies, and he has this thing where it's like, oh, hey, if you add espresso to your mix, it really brings out the flavor of the chocolate. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And Amber, she was making brownies, like she happened to be making brownies the next day, and we tried it, and holy crap, they were so much better. And so there's little good things in there too, but really, it's about just kind of watching it. It's something really relaxing. It's something really wholesome about these videos that, like, it reminds me of Miyazaki, which I might talk about a little bit. Something just so patient and wholesome about it. I just love. I think it's great. I can't recommend it enough, actually. So thanks for recommending that to me. Now I'm recommending it to everyone. Alvin Zhao, check out his YouTube. There's not a lot. Honestly, you can watch all of his videos in one sitting like we did. There's only 6. He seems to only put out 1 a month, which I can see why, because there's a lot of effort put into these videos.
Yeah, and that video came out on February 7th, so it's not old.
Yeah.
And it's already got 2.1 million. So,
sure
he'll be bringing out more videos.
Yeah, good for him. He's tapped into something I think unique on YouTube, and good. That's good content. It really is.
The contrast ratio on those cameras shows that they are expensive cameras.
Yeah.
Like, he does not have his kitchen very well lit, and it is like super crisp. There's no grain. Yeah, he must have some like Black Magics or Sony A7Ss or something. Like, oh, I love it. I love good camera work. It makes the videos so much more enjoyable to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's all part of just the pleasing nature of the video. If the camera work wasn't as nice, it wouldn't have the same feel. You have just like an indie film kind of quality to everything, where everything just feels so so good. But yeah, check it out. It's great. I'm a fan, actually.
6-hour double cheeseburger.
Yeah, what in the world?
That's crazy.
It's so good. It's like someone who does love to cook and like experiment here and there. It's actually inspiring. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to put more
100-hour lasagna. That's crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff you can do without some of the steps of we're gonna put it in the fridge for 48 hours. You know what I mean? Like
for 6 days.
Yeah, he does a lot of that because he thinks when his methodology is the food tastes better when it sits like that.
It needs to rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it couldn't do without it, but we'll see. But anyways, it's great Studio Ghibli,
Mm-hmm.
prolific. His stuff is on HBO now, so I kind of want to, or HBO Max. So I kind of want to go out of my way to recommend some of them here and there. Porco Rosso is the one we just watched Sunday night. It's one of I don't love every single one of his movies. Like some of them, I'm just like, yeah, it's really good, but I love this one. It's simple tale of it's like a pre-World War II era. There's a bounty hunter who kind of stops pirates, and he happens to be a pig. There's nothing else magical in the world, nothing else really supernatural or strange going on. But there's a backstory. They don't spend a lot of time on it. That during World War One, he deserted a lot of his friends in a dogfight, and when he came to, he was a pig, and that's all there is to it. And God, the movie's so good. It's again something relaxing, something wholesome about his stuff. But that being said, it's made for adults. Like I wouldn't let like a small child watch it. Maybe like a little bit of an older child. Not that there's anything too inappropriate, but his character's a womanizer, and so it's like something that there's nothing explicit, but you just want little kids to pick up on that
Right.
stuff. The voice acting is fantastic. If you didn't know, John Lasseter, who was with Disney, is a huge fan of Miyazaki. So he's like his biggest cheerleader and getting his stuff well known in the States. And they gave him these films big treatment when it came to these English dubs. And so we got Michael Keaton voicing
Wow.
Porco Rosso. He's great. He's perfect. That cool voice is just fantastic. It makes you love the character. And I actually really recommend the dub for that one. But
That never happens when they come to the United
I
States.
know.
That's crazy.
But for these Miyazaki ones, it's like a tradition. Every single one
Yeah.
of them usually has a big name somewhere in there. And so they put a lot of love into it. But I recommend it highly. It's on HBO Max. Check it out. Give some of these movies a watch. If not this one, maybe another one that might catch your fancy since it's there. Maybe on a chill Sunday afternoon, kind of how I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sorry. I feel like I'm taking too long with these. I'll try to speed it up a little bit. Dragon Quest 11, I finished it. Holy freaking crap, I finished it. I can't believe it. It's finally over. And you know, I don't have a lot to say. It's a classic RPG.
That's like a 100-hour game.
Just about.
Yeah.
It was 75 hours. What I finished.
Those Dragon Quests are always pretty long, aren't they?
Yeah, for the most part. Most of them are super long. It's great. It's classic. It felt really good. It's like one of those things that feels classic, but not in a way where like it feels dated. It looks really nice. It's a good looking game, and it has a lot of modern sensibilities. It's like it has an autosave, it has a fast travel, and stuff that like when you go back to older games, you're like, ooh, yeah, I have to deal with this. It doesn't have any of that stuff. It feels like a modern game, but it also feels classic, and the story's great, and it's really long, but it's really great. The funny thing is, 75 hours. It's not like I went around the world doing a bunch of side quests. I really didn't. I focused mainly on the main story, and it's just a long story. It could almost be like a series, like a TV series, because it's very much like you go around, you pick up your companions, but like you're solving these big problems that also like kind of work its way into like the main quest. And so it's like feels like a TV series in that way, where it's like, okay, we're stopping by this town on this kind of side quest, but not really, because it's epic as well, and it feeds into what you're doing. So it's a lot of that until like the last several hours, where it's just pedal to the metal. But here's the weird thing. I just talked to Adam about this a couple episodes ago about Nier Automata, how like after the credits, that's not the end of the game, like not even close. It's the same thing. What in the world? Like credits rolled, and I was like, all right, I guess that's it. And then I see it to be continued at the end. I was like, wait, what do you mean to be continued? I know there's not going to be a sequel, and so I hit continue, and away I go. It's
oh my
not
gosh.
over. Like, not as
Jeez.
I thought it was going to be like, yay, we did it. Here's a couple cutscenes, here's a couple side quests. Bye. No. I'm talking 20 more hours of main questing. Holy crap. It's essential, too. It's not like, oh, I could have done without this. No, it's the main game. It's so strange. But
I have such a hard time finishing games that are that long. I mean,
Luke,
I
this
still never
game,
finished GTA 5, and that's not nearly that long.
this one would really, yeah, you'd have a really hard time with this one because also it's like I don't know, it is long.
You never get sick of the play loop?
Yes,
Like, it keeps your attention?
I do. As you like, if you listen to the podcast, you may have noticed like I stopped playing this for a while. I was
Yeah.
like maybe 40 hours in, and it's like almost half the way through. And
Yeah.
just recently, I was like, I saw the icon there. I was like, heard Dragon Quest music somewhere, and I was like, I gotta finish this. And yeah, I think that was the right thing to do because I felt like I'm like, yeah, I'm in this now. Let's do this, and it felt good.
Yeah.
And I've had a really good time with it. It's long. It's really long. If you're not invested in the story, or are really hardcore like turn-based RPG fan and really love the systems, which I like the systems. I like turn-based RPG. I find it fun, but I'm not like, oh, I just love these systems. I gotta get the best weapon to utilize this. I'm not like crunching the numbers and all that stuff like a lot of other people, but I enjoy it for sure. But it's like a marriage between that and the story. But if none of that's working for you, way too long.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, beat that. Okay, so lastly, with the red box, my wife picked up a movie called Greenland. Have you heard of this one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. This is.
It was like just starting to come out, like right when COVID hit.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Theaters are down.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it never really got a true theatrical release. It had the whole, I just still can't, as I talked about so many times on the podcast,
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to pay $20 to watch this once at home with just me and my wife. But anyways, Gerard Butler, I hate myself for forgetting her name. The girl from, Serenity
Deadpool.
and Deadpool, yeah. And they
Deadpool girl. Yeah.
very simple story. This is simple disaster stuff. Probably like half the budget of maybe less of something like 2021 or 2012.
2012.
Sorry, thank you. 2021. We're in 2021. But you know what? It's better.
San Andreas.
San Andreas. Yeah,
Is it you're saying it's less budget than like San Andreas?
for sure.
Or similar? Really? Huh.
It's better than all of them.
Maybe they just know that it's not working.
Maybe.
Those movies in the past just haven't worked as well as they had hoped. So they're like, let's not give them quite so much money this time.
Yeah.
What was Wasn't Gerard Butler in another disaster movie? Like, yeah, not very long ago.
Geostorm, not long ago at all. I got confused.
Can't imagine that made a lot of money.
No, I can't. This was great. Honestly, I'm shocked.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Because I like these disaster movies in a certain way where I watch 2012 and I'm laughing. I'm laughing my tail off.
Ugh, so scary.
So
Ugh.
ridiculous. Oh, this is a good movie.
Wow.
It's a good movie. Holy crap.
Wow.
This movie focuses on the family and the family alone. There's no astronomer. There's no cuts to the president or the U.S. forces or some scientist that's in Norway or anything like that. It's just focused on the family's point of view, and that makes it intense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
It definitely looked interesting from the trailer. It's like, wow. Scary thought.
it is scary. Like, honestly, it's scary because, like, especially now, like, honestly, I'm not the kind of person who really worries too much about the end of the world. I'm just like, oh man, if that thing comes, tell me where the target zone is, and I'll set up camp right there. No, thank you. Post-apocalyptic storyline. But the thing about it is, though, it's like after this year, we've seen society go through a lot of turmoil, whether it be the stuff going on in our culture or fallout from the pandemic.
Yeah.
In this movie, I'm not spoiling really much. We're being told that that the world is going to end, that it's over, and we see in a way
we can see that from the trailer.
Yeah, and you see society deal with that, and through the eyes of this family, trying to do what they need to do. That's what I'll say.
Very 2012y, really is.
Yeah.
I mean, just what you just said. I haven't seen the movie, but it's very much the same thing because they're like, figuring out. That's the one where they're like figuring out the ships, right? And the one guy had like predicted like this is what you need to do, and then they didn't pick him up, and they're trying to like pay their way on with that rich guy. And, yeah,
they were doing a lot. There was like, it's one of those movies where like, what's the director? Not Zemeckis. Gosh, it's just gonna drive me nuts. But it's not like there's 20 main characters that we're jumping in between. We're not getting to know a bunch of people. It's just a wife and a husband and a son in their journey. And that's it. There's no cutting in between. All these people, it's Roland Emmerich. Yeah, it's not one of his movies where they're constantly running away from an explosion. There's actually not too much of that. I mean, you don't feel like, wow, where's the end of the world? This is an end of the world movie. It's not absent of that, but you feel like that's all that happens in those movies. We're just running to the next plane, running away from this explosion, running away from this tidal wave. It's not that. It's this family dealing with this and like the minute-to-minute decisions that they're making. It's one of those movies where you're not like constantly, oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Why would you do this? You're like, shoot, I don't know, man. As you like look at it, you're just like, I don't know what I would. And that's scary. It's scary when you're watching a movie where it's a bad situation and you don't have the answer.
Yeah.
That's freaky because you're watching and you're like, I don't know, this would be awful.
Yep. I would die.
Yeah, and definitely the best parts of the movie is the first half. The tension building is fantastic. I think like you really feel the impending doom or the impending threat or whatever it is. You're like, oh my god, this would be so scary. But yeah, I recommend this. It's not like the best movie of all time. But it's not like fantastic, but it's really good. I was like, my wife who does not like, she does not find any sort of pleasure in like movies like that, the crappy ones that I do. She does not, but she was like a few minutes into the movie, she was like, "What? Is this a good movie?" Like, how that happens. It kind of occurs to you where you're like, the acting's good, the writing's pretty good, the directing, something's working here, and it just kind of clicks, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm watching a decent movie.
Trying to find, there's one that I was trying to talk about and I cannot remember the name of it. I thought it came either right before or right after 2012. There's one where it's like everything's freezing.
Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Was that who was the star of that movie?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal and oh gosh, what's his name? Poor man is Harrison Ford.
Dennis Quaid.
You knew what I was saying at least. Yeah, that. Yeah, I mean
2004. Wow. That one's probably one of the oldest ones.
Yeah, that one definitely was like the dawn of this sort of thing. I think Armageddon and Deep Impact kind of started it, where it was like, we're gonna make these.
Kind of.
The world is ending. Here we go. And they were like, well, what if we took it to like
Armageddon had a different style, though. It may be a little bit more like Greenland, where it just was so good. Armageddon reminded me. Well, this movie came after Armageddon, but Pearl Harbor. They both were like very similar styling, like build up the story a lot, and the like disaster. Whether it's the attack on Pearl Harbor or the asteroids striking Earth. It was like, I don't know. That was such a small thing about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas like these movies, it's more like The Day After Tomorrow, like the freezing thing, or 2012. The whatever. There's like natural disasters all over Earth happening all at the same time in 2012. I think.
Yeah,
it's like that is like the main character of the movie. So.
Yeah, this one is it's a comet and it's breaking apart. It's like, it's not gonna hit us. It's gonna pass by. Nope, it's breaking apart, and there's a big bit that's gonna hit us, and it will end the world. And so it's definitely yeah, very, very startling, very scary. But definitely watch it. I really recommend it, and especially it's one of those things where it's like, in the grand grand scheme of things, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's not amazing, but man, it's the best disaster movie I've seen in a very long time. And so for that, definitely check it out. I think it's well worth it. And it's good to see Gerard Butler in something that's not Geostorm.
He's got like 3 types of movies I feel like he makes right now. It's like an action movie, usually centering around the president or something like that, or a disaster movie. Because he doesn't really do the rom-coms anymore.
No.
He's more just like disaster movies or action movies.
Yeah,
and they're like these like side action movies where it's like they're not really like the big leagues. They're kind of just like a spectacle kind of movie.
Yeah.
Well, he is doing Den of Thieves, which I don't know. I did enjoy Den of Thieves, and I was just looking at his thing. He's actually making a second one, which kind of surprised 'cause I didn't think that movie did very well.
Wow, yeah.
It's like a robber movie. They rob like a bank, and he's like the cops that are like. It's kind of like Heat, similar to Heat.
This is similar in the way where it's like mid-sized budget, which you just don't see very often, where it's either like small budget or huge budget. This is mid-sized budget. It's actually I think the same director behind like Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, it is. So. I was looking at that. Yeah, he loves him some Gerard Butler.
Yeah, give me that Butler, Jerry. Come here. Good stuff. Yeah, that's what I got, man. I've been rambling. What you got, dude?
I actually forgot a movie last week. There were so many movies, so I forgot this one. But I went back and watched a Netflix film called A Futile and Stupid Gesture. And this was back in 2018. It's a comedy about the beginning and founding of National Lampoon. And that started with the Harvard Lampoon. And what's the guy's name? The founder was Doug. Yeah. Weird the way they have you know how they do that weird thing where they don't list the lead characters on IMDb first?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know why they do that sometimes. But Will Forte was the lead character in this. Douglas Kenny is his name, and where is so weird. There is Donald Gleason was the not really the lead, just co-star, I guess. Henry Beard. So him and Douglas Kenny started the Harvard Lampoon, which was I think it was either a newspaper or a magazine. I think it was a magazine for Harvard that they put out, comedy magazine. And I guess I was actually listening to a podcast that Conan does, and he was actually talking about the Harvard Lampoon, and I guess he went there at one point. So I guess they were somewhat big, like well known even before they started National Lampoon. And anyways, it's a pretty silly movie, but it's it's a documentary style like comedy where it's
kind of deal.
Yeah, biographical kind of movie where it's actually going through I like the way they kind of do it where they're even like super honest about it. Like, we had to like completely change. They like literally have a voiceover. Like, we had to completely change this part just because it doesn't work for a movie. So we also had like these 12 other writers that joined us at this point, but we just don't have room for them. And then it like shows all these guys standing outside and they're like, sorry guys. And they like all disappear.
That's funny.
And then he's like, and also a lot of things happen between this part and this part, but the timing just doesn't work. So we're not going to mention all that. So right now I'm just going to tell you this happened and then this happened and then this happened. And then we're here.
That's pretty
So
good.
it's a mix of just a really funny movie, but also kind of sad. It's tough watching what this guy Doug, he just seems like a similar to what's the guy's name played Genie? Robin Williams. Yeah. He seems like the same kind of guy who, like, on the outside, he never took life serious, and it's always jokes, like always at all points in his conversation with everyone, at least in the movie, he's always joking. But then, in the movie, it kind of humanizes him in a way and says, like, this guy had a lot of demons, and that he tried to keep in the closet and not show anybody. And yeah, he had a tough life. yeah, I don't want to spoil it, even though it's it's biographical, but I think people should watch it and kind of experience the movie as it goes. And yeah, I mean, it's a comedy movie through and through. Like it's all funny, but it is tough seeing a guy like National Lampoon is kind of this. There's a lot of stupid things because they've made some really dumb movies, but there's also some really good movies that you and I have enjoyed, for a long time that are classics. I mean, Christmas Vacation, for one, is like one of the greatest Christmas movies ever made, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's tough seeing someone who created this great thing also, struggle with the fact that he had all the success. So, happens more often than it should. A Futile and Stupid Gesture. Just a great cast. Obviously Donald Gleason and Will Forte are great, but pretty much everybody, throughout the movie just did well.
Oh wow,
it was
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was well timed. Metacritic only gave it a 55. Maybe I'm just nice to movies too often, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, check that out. That sounds like a good watch, I think.
Cool. So they started off as a magazine, yeah, at Harvard, and then became a magazine nationally. And probably anyone who's 20 years older than us is like, well, yeah, of course. But I didn't know all that about National Lampoon, and I kind of remember seeing like some of the magazine covers, and like as it went through the history, I'm like, this sounds familiar. I think I remember this. It's similar to Mad Magazine, just outlandish, crazy magazine that just pushes the envelope with every episode. So
did they talk about them making Class Reunion?
I know. I was mentioning that to Bethany. So I thought that was their first movie, but then I looked back on it, and Animal House actually is their first movie.
Oh, wow.
And so that was actually their second movie. Yeah.
Sophomore slump, I guess.
Class Reunion was their second. Yeah. Yeah, they did not mention it at all. They mentioned like the next movie was Caddyshack, and it's like, no, that was not their next movie.
They should have made a joke about it and be like, and then our next movie was Class Reunion. No.
Our next movie was beep. They buried. For those who haven't watched or listened to our other podcast, we went through all of the movies by John Hughes, and yeah, Class Reunion is one that he directed.
Yeah, he directed it.
I think. Yep. I don't think he wrote it, but that movie was as buried as a movie has ever been in the bowels of the internet.
Maybe not.
Jordan and I worked so hard to find that thing, and we found some weird like link that we. I don't even know if it was in English, that website I found it on.
Sometimes you dig and you find a jewel. Ugh. Sometimes it's fossilized Triceratops poop.
Yep.
It is.
We cracked open that and it still smelled.
Maybe that gave me COVID.
Anyways, A Futile and Stupid Gesture you should watch.
Yeah.
Class Reunion you should not watch.
Even if you could.
So, going to an even higher note, I enjoyed that movie, but I enjoyed this movie even more. 1988's License to Drive, starring Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. Just, I mean, need I say more?
Yeah. The Corys.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this movie was a great movie. It's just the fact that it's set in 1988 and everything that comes with that. And yeah, it's on HBO Max, and it's so silly. It's the story of Corey Haim, like trying to get his license and like going through driver's ed and like just going on this ridiculous nighttime trip with Corey Feldman just being ridiculous the whole time. He's like, yeah, it's the greatest. So yeah, definitely watch it. Metascore thinks it's horrible. I'm sorry, I don't agree. I really enjoyed this movie. This is a young Heather Graham as well. Oh, wow. Is like one of the co-stars in this movie, so pretty great. And you probably recognize a few other people, like just from having smaller roles. Not people you'd know their names, but it's like, oh yeah, I think I saw them in something else from back in the day. Yeah, really funny. License to Drive. We actually got into something that we never watch, which is like, I never I never understand the difference. So like The Office would be considered a workplace comedy, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It's not a sitcom, right? We can agree that's not a sitcom.
I mean, I don't think so. That's not how I would classify a sitcom.
Yeah, it's like there's sitcoms, which like How I Met Your Mother, that would be a sitcom, right?
Yes. I
Wouldn't we
always
say
go
that?
with live studio audience. I mean, honestly, is what I've
Yeah,
always.
so that's a sitcom. And then like there's The Office. So I've never really enjoyed sitcoms except for How I Met Your Mother. You know, Seinfeld, it's pretty funny. You know, it's kind of a classic, but not, you know, it's just a little older than I am.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't feel like How I Met Your Mother felt more like people who were raised in my generation wrote it. So I feel like I feel like I can connect with that. So I pretty much never watch sitcoms is basically what I'm trying to say. But Kevin James, I watched him do Hot Ones, and he mentioned this show. So I went on Netflix and watched. We ended up watching the whole thing and actually really enjoying it. It's The Crew on Netflix, and it's a sitcom with a laugh track, which I can't stand. But this show was funny enough. Like, yeah, my greatest compliment for this show is I laughed to tears a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Like I was like fully like dying laughing, and you know, other people might not agree, but there was just some things, some lines that hit me. There's like some things that just hit me that I just thought were the funniest things. I forgot how much I really do like Kevin James. He just has a very wholesome way about his comedy where like he doesn't make you feel dirty at all. You know, like some stand-up comedians, it's just like, this is funny, but like you're talking about your junk or something like way too much, and I'm just kind of sick of hearing that. Like Kevin James is like nowhere even close to that. It's just
He's
like
a nice guy.
he's definitely the he's the guy next door kind of comedian.
He's not mean spirited, really.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, I don't really like sitcoms, but I did watch The King of Queens a few times, and
yeah,
it's pretty funny, honestly. And you know, it's because of Kevin James. Obviously, he makes that show. But yeah, this is like I think this is the first time he's been back on TV, quote unquote TV, whatever that is nowadays, right?
Yeah.
You know, in a long time. And yeah, he also just a shout out to Kevin James's YouTube. If you just want to like just have some laughs, like go on his YouTube. He's teamed up with like some friends of his who do small films, and he joined like mid like COVID. He joined YouTube and started making these short films, and they're just like the most outlandish silly things, but like super well made. Like high production value, you know, for something that's only 2 minutes long, like super high production value. Where like he's got like this one where they're like fighting with like metal detectors, like lightsaber fighting, but they put in effects that look super good, and it makes it funnier like how good the production value is. So
Let's take a look
yeah,
at that. That's cool.
Kevin James YouTube and The Crew. It's pretty funny. It's a NASCAR pit crew that like has an office, and they like it just follows the drama of like all the people that, you know, the driver and the mechanic and the lady and her father who head up the team. And yeah, it's very wholesome comedy. So
Check it out. That's cool. Only 10
the
episodes,
last
huh?
yeah, I know, I'm disappointed. There's definitely going to be another season though, so get to making it. One last thing, I watched Money Talks. 1997's Money Talks with
Tucker, right?
Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen and Heather Locklear. Yeah, this movie, I probably should have led with this, but not to end on a down note. This movie's just, I don't know. It's funny, you know, and I appreciate that it's an older 97. It always gives it points to being set in the 90s or 80s for me, but yeah, sorry, Mr. Brett Ratner, but would be one of your low points for me. It's not, I don't think it's Chris Tucker's best work either. He's too much himself. Like there's no like, he doesn't have that bounce, you know, him and like Jackie Chan, like they had that good like give and take kind of thing. And yeah, this
nothing to rein him in, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. This is what this is this is what they were trying to go for when they did what's the name of the freaking movie with Jackie Chan? Rush Hour. Yeah, it's like that works so well there. It's like Brett Ratner, like just he found the good like balance of comedy there, where there's like the physical comedy of Jackie Chan and also Jackie Chan's he's also just kind of funny. Like
Yeah.
he plays that Asian role well. Like he plays off his own like struggle to speak English well. He like does it. Yeah. Anyways, he just he does it well, and then
like I think half of what Jackie Chan does is comedy. I think he's as much of a comedian as
I mean that's what he is. Yeah. It's just he uses the fact that he can't speak English super fluently to his advantage in like a super cool way, and then of course Chris Tucker's like the fastest talking like comedian ever. I think he's just like I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and it was a little too much. I mean, it was fine, but any older movie, I'm just like, I need to see that. I've seen that box art in Blockbuster far too many times, and I'd never gotten to watch it.
Wow, these Blockbuster boxes are still haunting us to this day.
Yeah. There's two more movies that fall into that category that I've now started, but I haven't watched yet. I'm in the middle of watching True Lies and Cape Fear.
Wow.
Those are two movies I'd never seen before.
Very good.
And because the baby started crying, I haven't been able to finish them yet. So I'll report back.
Awesome. Cool. Good week of stuff to watch and play. I got a few things written down here. We don't have to talk about them for long, but a couple of things. Did you watch the Mortal Kombat trailer?
I did. There's also the Cruella trailer.
Oh, that's right. Which one do you want to talk about first, Luke?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
All right, Cruella. Let's do it. You know what?
I don't know what, Jordan. Tell me.
No, I don't know what, Luke. Actually, that's the real thing. I don't know about this, man. It's one of those things where I don't really care what it is. It's seeing when I saw that this was announced, I was just like, "What are we doing?" It's one of those things. Where I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
I mean,
are we gonna do a King Louis movie next? I mean, what in the world?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, Disney owns stuff, and it's like, why not make money off all the characters in our movies? Why only make it off the good guys?
Like, sometimes with these movies, I'm fine with being proven wrong, and often I am proven wrong. Like, I was livid about Solo, and it's like I really like Solo, actually, like, surprisingly. But with this, I don't know, it'll take a lot for me to like it. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, even when I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, the thing about this screams, like, lack of quality. Emma Stone's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
I like her a lot, but
that's the big thing it has going for it.
It almost hurts me, the fact that they're putting so much effort into this. I'm just like, just make something else. I don't know. So much time and energy and money. It's a Cruella?
Yeah. It does feel like with the directions, honestly, a lot of companies have gone, but especially Disney, it does feel like, are we at a point where these writers don't feel like there's any new stories to be told? Because why does there have to be a prequel to every movie that's ever come before, or just a straight up remake, like The Lion King being re-released in the ultra CGI version? It's like, why did that have to happen? And I think I differ a little bit. I think this movie actually looks pretty good, but I do agree with you. It's like, why does this have to be what millions of dollars went into? It just seems like, is there not just hey, here's an original princess, or an original animal movie or something like that? I mean, Pixar's been doing it all along. Like, they just keep making new original stories, and they're doing great. Like, you just feel like you can't do that in a live action at this point. You feel like it has to be animated. Yeah, I don't know why Disney can't just start making live action originals, because now that I'm saying this, it's like, have any of these live action movies not been either based on or a direct copy of an animated movie that came before? There haven't been. Well, yeah, there was the one that you saw that was so terrible. That's probably
Artemis
yeah,
Fowl.
yeah, yeah,
Well, it's either gonna be something like this or it's based
yeah,
off a book, like Artemis Fowl,
yeah.
Wrinkle in Time. It's like we have things like that,
That's true. Wrinkle in Time. Yeah,
but
those are two that fell straight on their face.
yeah, horrible bombs that I
I'm
didn't
sure they
see
spent
on
a
Wrinkle
lot
in
on
Time.
that chaos too in
Oh my
Wrinkle in Time.
gosh. Yeah, it's like
Get
Marvel's
Oprah.
killing it. Marvel's killing it with their stuff. Star Wars, in my opinion, they're doing a good job. Pixar's
Yeah.
killing it. It's just Disney's animation studio is killing it. It's just their live action stuff that they have going on. It's just, man, nothing's really has
Well,
really,
the animated Lion King wasn't exactly killing it.
yeah, whatever we're gonna call that. Yeah, animated Lion King. People call it live action Lion King. There is no live action Lion King. Whatever that was is awful. But
Yeah. Train animals to do that, and then I'll be impressed.
heck yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're really starting to get the backlash of the CGI animal thing between Lion King and whatever that Harrison Ford one was with the CGI dog.
Yeah.
I feel like they're
Call of the Wild.
Call of the Wild. I feel like the time for CGI animal characters are starting to fade away. But yeah, man.
But Call of the Wild, man, it looked terrible.
Yeah, it looks so bad. I haven't even seen it. I saw the trailer. I'm like, Scooby-Doo?
It wasn't a terrible movie, but CGI dog. It's like, wow. Have you guys never seen Homeward Bound? Like, the movie was a miracle. It was so good.
It's crazy. I don't know. It's. I think they just lost their mojo with their live action stuff. I mean, I think in the early 2000s, I mean, they were obviously on a roll with the first Pirates movies. I think they made some other good ones like Tron Legacy,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But stuff like
Yeah.
that. But man, they haven't like this stuff is just. Anyways, Mortal Kombat. What do you think of this?
It definitely made me a lot more interested in it. You know, I didn't know a lot before, like when you and I were looking through like release schedules, like, oh yeah, Mortal Kombat's coming out. I probably had heard it at some point, but you know, it was nowhere near the front of my mind that was coming out. And then I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like from what I've seen other people is pretty interesting. You know, it's like, okay. I mean, it stays as close to the game as I think you could when you're trying to tell a story about a game that's just beating each other to death. I mean, that's all we're talking about. So it's like, how do you create a story about, oh yeah, they kill each other in horrific ways?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it seems like as good as you could get, kind of, at least from the trailer.
the story of Mortal Kombat is even when I'm enjoying it, which I do every now and then in some of these games, especially when they become most recently cinematic, starting with 9. They're, fun, entertaining stories, but they're B movies. They're fun B movies as far as like the story goes. And it seems
Yeah.
in keeping with that. And yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. Honestly, that's the cool thing. You look at it, you're like, it's Mortal Kombat. Like the fighting looks like it should. The way they're using their powers, the fatalities, and I don't know who this Cole person is. He's not a video game. He's not a character from the games, but you have a birthmark. Look, it's the Mortal Kombat symbol. Or whatever. I don't know. But
Yeah.
whatever. They have new characters all the time, so why not go for
That was
it?
the guy in Deadpool. That's right.
Oh, was he? Okay, I didn't recognize him.
Joe plays Cole.
Very nice. Well, yeah, I think it looks pretty cool, actually. It's probably, it comes out next month. Is that right?
April.
Yeah, next month. Oh,
April
just about.
16th.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're almost in March. Not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think it looks cool. I mean, I'm not. It's one of those things where it's
Get
like,
over here, April 16th.
very nice. Great. Good. There it is. I shall get over here.
I mean, obviously, you come to that movie just to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight. Let's be honest.
And that looks cool when he like takes the blood and like freezes it, turns it into like
Yeah.
a knife. That's sweet. It's cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm definitely more excited than I was before.
Exactly. It's like you look at it and it's like I think there's a peak unless you're a major, huge Mortal Kombat fan. There's like you can only get so excited where you're like, oh
guy Greg Russo, who's like the top credited writer, this is gonna be his first movie.
All right. Has he done anything else before, or is this just his first script? First,
No. It says he's writer credited on 2 things, and the second thing has just been announced. So Mortal Kombat will be his first official IMDb thing.
Wow.
I'm sure he's done stuff. It's just not on IMDb.
All right, yeah, let's go.
Cool. That's quite a thing to like go from nothing to making a pretty big HBO, Warner Brothers movie.
What a place to start. Good for him.
So the other guy wrote on Wonder Woman 84, Shang-Chi, so the upcoming Marvel TV show. Yeah.
Very cool.
And Godzilla. Huh.
Oh, wow. Goodness.
And he wrote the upcoming Hercules. Huh.
There's an upcoming Hercules?
Says it was, I guess, recently announced.
How many of these are we going to do?
I'm sure every character in Hollywood, Jordan, has an upcoming thing.
Yeah. True.
Every character that's ever existed. Upcoming. Could be 40 years from now, but upcoming.
True. These things tend to linger for a while before we actually see them. Yeah, very true. Like Venom. Anyway.
Yeah. I actually need to go here soon.
Okay.
So
We'll roll on through this. I just wanted to bring this up. Yeah, PlayStation announced a VR headset. New. I mean, it's what you expect. Probably a little bit more easier to hook up, like one cord, opposed to the 50 that they have now. And I'm sure it'll look a lot better. And probably the controller's new. So cool, great stuff for VR fans. You got anything you want to bring up before we wrap up? We can wrap up early. It's not really anything crazy going on, honestly.
I mean, you had your Nintendo Direct, so there's that.
Yeah, it was okay, honestly.
Not a lot of big announcements. Zelda remake, Skyward Sword.
Yeah, remastered Skyward Sword. A lot of controversy surrounding that. People are upset because they didn't announce all the Zelda remakes that they were expecting, but they're coming.
Yeah.
They've been very quiet about the 35th anniversary, and when they want to talk about it, they will talk about it. There's no way they're ignoring it. It's just coming when they're ready to do it this year. So it's coming. But yeah, Skyward Sword is actually, I like the game, but a lot of people are upset at the fact that it's $60. And yeah, I think it's justified. I think it's justified to be upset about that. It's old as can be. A lot, like, you look at what all these other people are doing, like, for instance, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. They, like, tricked that game out and released it for, like, what, $40? Are you kidding? That's, like, really 2-in-1 games. That's fantastic. Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, great.
I raved about it.
We talk about this stuff all the time. Nintendo seems to be able to get away with it. Everyone's going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. We're just going to be mad about it. And I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy that I spent $60 on it, but this is not new. This isn't new. It's happened with the Wind Waker HD, and it happened with Twilight Princess HD, and now it's happening with Skyward Sword HD. It's just, they've allowed it.
I think I wish that Nintendo teamed up more with third parties and like made money off that interaction so that they could spend more of their time and money on making new stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're trying to make up for the fact that they don't have, Activision or something like putting games on there. And so they don't get like a cut of those games. So they have to do this to like pay for like the bigger projects, like, Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah. I'd like that, honestly. I mean, I would really like that. I mean, it's funny. There was a game that Nintendo teamed up with Capcom to make a Zelda game back for the Game Boy Color with the Oracle of Seasons, the Oracle of Ages. And you would never see that now. The closest thing would be like how they team up for the Hyrule Warriors game. But those are like different things, like spin-offs. So, yeah, I'd love for them to team up to make a mainline Zelda game. Or hey, whoever, Toys for Bob, the people who did the Crash Bandicoot and the Spyro remakes, team up with us, help us make a remake for Zelda. That would be great. But it's not, they don't do it. The fact that they're so autonomous is their greatest strength and also their greatest weakness. people rub up against. It's just
Yep.
it's very Nintendo. It's very Nintendo. But yeah, I wasn't super jazzed about anything. I'm excited about Skyward Sword, like marginally, because I do like that game and I'm looking forward to playing it. But yeah, Splatoon 3, I like Splatoon 2, but it's not one of my favorites. But I might pick it up when it comes out. But I'm not like, oh my god, Splatoon 3, Splatoon 3. You know, not so much. But you know, whatever. It's fine. There'll be another direct, hopefully, in shorter time than 500 and something days. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a Zelda direct at the very least whenever they're ready to do their celebration. PlayStation is having a state of play on Thursday, where they'll probably announce a bunch of games. So they're doing a direct, or you know, the equivalent of. So that's fun. That's pretty much it, man. We probably next week. I'm sure we'll talk about Tom and Jerry. Nah, in case you didn't.
Should be a quick react.
Quick react. Maybe I'll probably watch it as I mentioned.
Yeah, it's too easy too.
Exactly, it's too easy. The ease of access is so low that it's right there. But man, enjoy the rest of your night, Luke, and we'll see you guys next week. What do you say?
See you later.